5 Star Trek. The Next Generation Season 3 episodes you can completely skip. By the time Star Trek The Next Generation entered its third season, the show had finally found its footing. Gone were the awkward growing pains of the early years, and in their place came stronger writing, tighter characterization, and more daring storytelling. Season 3 was the year TNG truly became Star Trek for a new generation, with classics like Yesterday's Enterprise and The Best of Both Worlds, Part I cementing its reputation. But let's be honest, no Star Trek season is flawless. Nestled among the gems of Season 3 are a handful of episodes that feel forgettable, derivative, or just plain skippable. If you're rewatching TNG and want to streamline your journey to the very best moments, here are 5 episodes from Season 3 you can completely skip without losing anything important. 1. The Price, Episode 8. On paper, The Price sounds intriguing, a bidding war between alien species for rights to a stable wormhole. Unfortunately, what should have been a thrilling mix of diplomacy and science fiction fizzles into mediocrity. Most of the runtime is devoted to Counselor Troy's awkward romance with a visiting negotiator, Divinoni Rao, who turns out to be manipulating the situation with his empathic abilities. Instead of deepening Troy's character, the episode reduces her to a love-struck subplot that feels out of place. Meanwhile, the wormhole itself is a half-baked concept, though Trek fans will remember that its unstable properties later pop up in Voyager. Skip it, and you won't miss much. Unless you're desperate to see Troy wrestle with office romance ethics, this episode is best left behind. 2. The Vengeance Factor, Episode 9. Revenge is a dish best served cold, but the Vengeance Factor serves it lukewarm at best. The story follows a brewing conflict between the Federation and a group of marauding space nomads, the Gatherers. Peace negotiations are underway, but an assassination plot complicates matters, ultimately leading to Riker vaporizing a would-be assassin in the final act. The problem is that the whole story feels like filler. The Gatherers aren't particularly memorable antagonists, and the assassination subplot unfolds predictably. Even the supposed moral weight of Riker's climactic phaser shot doesn't carry much resonance, it just happens and the credits roll. With nothing here that informs the broader Trek narrative or develops the crew in interesting ways, this is one you can safely beam past. 3. A Matter of Perspective, Episode 14. Here's a Star Trek courtroom episode with a clever premise that unfortunately collapses under its own ambition. Riker is accused of murdering a scientist during a planetary mission gone wrong. The trial uses a holodeck to recreate events from multiple witnesses' perspectives, offering conflicting interpretations of what really happened. It sounds fascinating, and parts of it are, but the execution leaves much to be desired. The shifting perspectives play like a gimmick rather than a true Rashomon-style exploration of truth. Worse, the ultimate reveal that the scientist faked his death undercuts all the tension, turning what could have been a provocative exploration of bias and perception into little more than a Scooby-Doo ending. You can skip this one and still enjoy all the better courtroom-style drama the franchise has to offer elsewhere, especially in TNG's later standout, The Drumhead. 4. Allegiance, Episode 18. The idea of Captain Picard being kidnapped and replaced by a shape-shifting doppelganger should be gripping. Instead, Allegiance turns into a middling hour that wastes its potential. While the real Picard is trapped in an alien holding cell with 3 other prisoners, fake Picard wanders around the Enterprise acting slightly off. It could have been an opportunity to explore themes of leadership, identity, and how well the crew truly knows their captain. Instead, the story boils down to awkward scenes of imposter Picard singing drinking songs in 10 forward and testing his authority in strange ways. By the end, nothing of consequence has happened, and Picard is back in the captain's chair as if the ordeal never occurred. Considering how much rich psychological material there was to mine here, the lack of impact makes this one easy to skip. 5. Menage Troy, Episode 24. Yes, it's the Ferengi comedy episode. And yes, it's every bit as awkward as you remember. In Menage Troy, Waxana Troy, Deanna, and Riker are kidnapped by Ferengi. What follows is a cringe-worthy mix of Ferengi lust, uncomfortable humor, and an odd subplot about Wesley Crusher nearly missing his chance to enter Starfleet Academy. While Majel Barrett always brought a flamboyant energy to Waxana, this episode leans too heavily on campy humor and uncomfortable innuendo. The one redeeming element, a surprisingly sweet ending where Picard